My name is Robert J. Rashka. I was an Air Force fighter pilot. Got my wings in commission in August 16, 1955. And then I spent about 6 months going to various gunnery schools in the U.S. And then I went overseas to Japan to the 9th Fighter Bomber Squadron. And when I got to the 9th Fighter Bomber Squadron, I was interviewed by Major EGT Trainer, exhaust gas temperature trainer. That's what we call him behind his back. Anyway, briefing me on the squadron mission. And I'm a brand new second lieutenant. He's a major in the 9th Fighter Bomber Squadron in Nagoya, Japan, Kamaki Air Base. And Major Trainer was briefing me, and I made the comment that I want to get to a shooting war and get in combat and shoot somebody down. And Major Trainer said to me, Lieutenant Rashka, if we get into a shooting war, you're not going to shoot anyone down. This is not an air-to-air fighter squadron. It's a nuclear weapons delivery squadron. And if we go to war, you're going to have to pick up a nuclear weapon and take it to your assigned target in Manchuria, China, or North Korea, or what have you. In fact, he said, we don't even have guns in our F-84s. Boy, you talk about it being a brand new second lieutenant told he's going to be a fighter pilot, but no guns in the fighters. That's right. The 2 years I flew F-84s in Japan, I never heard the music of machine guns because the guns were all 4 guns were removed from the nose of our F-84s, and we just had lead ballast in the nose. But the nice thing about it is that if your wife could stand the cold temperatures, you could put your wife in the nose compartment of the F-84 and fly to wherever you wanted over in the Far East, Okinawa, Philippines, what have you. Because that was a big baggage compartment in the nose of our F-84s with the guns all removed. So anyway, that was kind of a big disappointment for me, and of course never did hear the music of machine guns. And of course to this day, in 2022, nuclear weapons are not allowed in Japan by treaty between Japan and the United States. However, if a nuclear war did break out, we would just take our fighters, fly to Korea, pick up our nuclear weapons, and head to our targets. And of course, you're a couple hundred miles close to your target, so instead of flying from Japan, we fly from South Korea. Anyway, that was the end of my nuclear weapons experience in Japan, although not quite. Now we did, back then, we dive bombed nuclear weapons. And you would roll it at 20,000 feet and dive at your targets on an enemy airfield or what have you. And you had to release the bomb and be level no lower than 14,000 feet so you could escape our F-84s could escape the blast. How accurate do you have to be? Well, how accurate do you have to be? With a nuclear weapon, you miss the target by half a mile, you're still going to destroy all the airplanes on the field. So anyway, 14,000 feet was the minimum altitude on any dive bomb nuclear weapons delivery. And when we got to England, I got to England in 1965, that was 8 years later. Again, I'm in a nuclear weapons delivery squadron, but this time they had totally discarded the dive bomb delivery, and everything now was a lay down delivery. You go in at 500 miles per hour right on the deck and towards your enemy airfield. And when you drop the bomb going 500 miles per hour, a small parachute opens out of the back of the bomb, slows a little bit, and the bomb hits the ground behind the aircraft, of course, and slides to a stop. No damage to the bomb at all. Is well constructed, and then it sits there cooking for about 50 seconds, and then kaboom, it goes off. By that time, the F-4 Phantom is 7-8 miles away from the blast. And everybody in England in our squadron had an assigned target. My target was a Russian airfield in northern Poland. And I take off, if war broke out, I take off from England armed with a nuclear weapon in my F-101 Voodoo, and then of course when we got rid of the F-101 Voodoos, same thing in F-4 Phantoms. Take off from England, climbing out to 35,000 feet, go across the North Sea, and when I get in between Sweden and Denmark, Norway and Denmark, I pick up the island of Bornholm on my aircraft radar, and I had to be on the deck by the east end of the Bornholm Island. And I think this is the island where my son Kirk and his wife spent their honeymoon. I'm not sure right now anymore. But anyway, I had to be on the deck by the east end of Bornholm Island in the middle of the Baltic Sea. And from there it was a low-level dash all the way to my target airfield in northern Poland. I don't remember the target airfield anymore, the name of the airfield. And after the bomb delivery, there was no fuel to come back to England. No nuclear weapons delivery pilot had fuel to come back to their home base. So the best thing we could hope for was to bail out over Sweden or land in Sweden at some airfield. And because no one had fuel, no, air-to-air refueling was not planned for any nuclear weapons delivery fighter in England. Because as tensions increased between Russia and us, all tanker aircraft would be withdrawn to the United States, so there are no tanker aircraft in Europe, and I'm assuming the same thing in the Far East. All tanker aircraft would have been withdrawn to the United States to support the B-52s, who would have to go deep into Russia to deliver nuclear weapons. And of course, they need tankers going in, they need tankers coming back out. So all tankers were gone from Europe, and all the F-4 Phantoms were on one-way missions they could not come back. Nobody could come back. I just land in Sweden and have fun with the Swedes.